Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Get back in my chair here. Just slide this over here. So we'll get started by seeing if we have any public comment.
It's a really long list this week. No, we have nothing.
Okay, cool. We'll revisit that at the end. Just to sort of level set, my hope tonight is for an efficient meeting. Mostly want to just quickly touch base about our presentation to the Board of Selectmen next week. Take care of any housekeeping items that we have, because I feel like we haven't done that in a while. And maybe, just get a little update on what's going on down in Town Hall with our department heads. And that's about it. Keep it efficient and effective. So, Rory, do we have any housekeeping items, like minutes that need to be approved or anything like that? If you're not prepared with that, then we can table that till the next meeting.
I need to go back and look at the last time I even did minutes, because I bet you it's a while ago. So we'll come back to that next time. I'll make a note for myself.
Okay. I just don't want to forget stuff that you need to take care of. So
yeah, no, I appreciate it. I'll make a note.
Cool. So speaking of Town Hall, how goes the battle?
Budget season is upon us. So we did we do that budget summit thing that we do every year to get an idea of how things are looking. So there has not been a lot going on in terms of strategic planning, except insofar as it is related to the budget process and what we're trying to accomplish with the Board of Finance.
Okay.
We are changing, I'm trying to change the way that we're doing capital planning. We currently do like a 5-year capital budget for $300,000, which is what the Board of Finance has historically given to us.
So can I interrupt you for a sec? Is somebody like making espresso or steaming milk, or am I the only one that's hearing that?
I hear it too. I've been on mute, so it's not me.
Oh, maybe it's me. Let me plug in my headphones. Sorry.
Okay.
It is dead silent in my apartment, so I don't know what.
Yeah, it's in. I'm in a sealed room.
I'm done now. Is it better?
Not really. Not sure what that is. All right. Well, anyway, we'll just mute if we're not talking. So keep going, Rory.
Hold on. Let me mute and we'll see if it's me definitively.
Yep.
Wonderful. I'll try to call in while I'm talking, so I can maybe it'll be better on my phone. So we're trying to change the way that we're doing capital planning. And so basically we kind of disincentivized strategic capital planning within the departments, because the Board of Finance gives us 300 grand carte blanche. We being the selectmen, that they get to choose how to distribute. They have not So if something is requested and does not fit into that 300, sometimes it stays included in the budget, even though we can't fund it. Most of the time, it just kind of disappears and falls away and gets forgotten. So what I'm trying to do is compile a list that extends beyond what we can currently fund, which I hope will incentivize people, because most of the departments, because we had no flexibility in the capital budget this year, did not even put in any requests, which I don't think is possible. So hopefully we'll be able to make that change, which I hope will help.
Go ahead, take a second. Oh, there you are.
Okay. How about
That's
now?
better. Much better.
All right. I don't know what's up with this laptop. Okay, so did the capital planning part come through, or was I just rambling to no one?
It sort of did. Basically, what I heard was that, you're reevaluating the anticipated expenses that exceed the $300,000 budget or kind of cushion or set
Yeah.
contribution that's given. And then we're going to see what those are. And then
Well, and then so essentially, the fire department, for example, needs to replace the tank on the tanker truck. The tank is weeping. That alone is $250,000. So what we do with kind of big ticket items like that is we'll fund them over a series of years. Public works dump trucks are $200,000. So they get $100,000 a year for 2 years, and they can buy a truck. If something doesn't fit, a lot of the times it falls off and gets forgotten, and then it becomes one of those nasty surprises that we have to, slap onto a bond issue or pay out of cash if we happen to have a surplus. It's not planned for. So I'm hoping that will improve the planning as far as departmental capital requests. And that's kind of it. We're looking at the final guidance for the rescue plan funding came through. So it won't change anymore, I guess. And it was really good news. We can kind of take like a standard deduction like you do on your income taxes, up to $10 million and claim it as lost revenue, which has much less restrictions than some of the other uses. So it kind of opens up possibilities for us as to what we can do with it. As departments put in requests for that, it's kind of like trying to tie it to their strategic initiatives, because if it's particularly if it's a big ticket item, and the timeline is not necessarily a quick one, it should certainly be in their plans. It's not, we're not really using this to fund smaller purchases. I mean, we're not using it at all yet, but we're not planning on using it for small purchases. So I've not worked with anybody on their plans specifically. There have been 2 personnel changes within the senior staff. Paul Sykowski retired as police chief, and the new guy came in, John Buccarati. He seems great. He started January 1st officially, and he had to put together a budget to present on January 4th. Or January 6th, rather. So I'm kind of giving him a little bit of time. Frank Gabinelli took over as Public Works Director in an interim capacity for right now. I would like to continue working with him as interim, just because we've talked, he was into it when we were talking with Tony DePrimo as well. The two of them would always be present. So I think we can continue to make progress on that. The staff are all aware that they will be asked to present. They're aware that the Board of Finance is aware that these plans exist and that they should ask to see them. A couple of people have already asked me, when do I have to present to the Board of Finance? So hopefully the carrot and stick approach works, but I haven't, just with everything going on, we're back to a staggered schedule at town hall. So I'm and all the COVID testing stuff is really taking a lot of my time. So that's all I got.
Okay. Well, I mean, COVID is interrupting everything, so I don't think we should expect to be any different. So just, keep us informed, and when the weather warms up, we'll get back to it. Feels like we're going to end up becoming hibernating species the rate we're going.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say is we canceled the senior staff meeting this month because the senior staff was all assembled for the budget summit, like the end of last week. So we're not going to do one this month while everybody's kind of scrambling, and we'll just resume in February.
Okay. So what was the response overall fairly neutral to the notification that the Board of Finance could ask for their plan? For people just sort of like, yeah, whatever. Was there widespread panic and the creation of torches? I mean, what do we got?
I honestly, I think it's going to be the panic will set in when people's turns come if they're not in good shape.
Okay.
But I'll keep working on it. I mean, I sent you that list of who's in good shape and who's not.
Yep.
I think we can move some of the people in the middle up to the top with not much work. I think we can move some of the people in the bottom to the middle with not much work. So we'll just keep plugging along.
Yeah, I tried not to be too evil about it for this first go round. I did put that into the presentation. Hang on one sec, I can share my screen. You should be able to see it. Essentially, I tried to, be a bit vanilla in my description of where people were. Not, we get to next year and they've had time and there's been no movement, then maybe we'd be a little more assertive about it. But
yeah, one really, I need to work with, I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say there are two departments that appear in two columns because they appeared in two columns on your list. So I wasn't sure, like, where finance and operations, whether they are just started or haven't started at all, or kind of just needs work. So maybe since I've got you, we can
That was
tidy
finance,
that up.
you said?
Finance and operations.
Oh, I would put them in the just started.
Okay. Both finance and operations?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, for finance, it's really hard not knowing what finance does and day to day. They may be in the middle, but it's just not very much. But I'll have to sit down with them again.
That's fine. We can put them as just started. I mean, I don't think it's a really negative connotation. It just implies that they're working on it. you know, the only one I put as not started was fire, because that seemed pretty,
Definitively not started.
yes, with no intention to
Yeah.
start.
Yeah.
So, okay. Cool.
What was I going to say? I think a big part of it is going to be, I still am working with Rob Dyer to try and get it so that, you know, plans don't need to be emailed. He's setting up folders with permission so that people can just go in and edit their plan. And then we can access it. And then I
Mhm.
think it'll be much easier because we'll just pull it up during staff meetings at that point.
Right. Now, and that'll be something you'll have access to. So would we be able to see that during our meetings and be able to go, hey, you know, maybe
Yeah.
these guys, you know. Cool. All right.
Absolutely.
Cool. All right. Which brings us to really the last big item on our agenda today, at least unless there's, you know, something else somebody needs to bring up, which is our presentation next, which is scheduled for next week till next Tuesday.
Mhm.
So, I mean, it feels like the deck is pretty straightforward, you know, kind of chunked in areas that people can speak to easily. Were there any questions, comments, concerns, major maladjustments, things we wanted to add now that we've got extra time? Or are we good?
Do we just want to do a brief little dry run? Like not getting into it, but just kind of divvying it up, I guess.
Well, it's basically divided by sections. Sure, I can take you guys through it. Let me go back over here and share it again. So we'll start, and I'll just introduce us. And it is done in alphabetical order, which also happens to be basically in the order of presentation, so that makes it easy. You know, who we are, that Stefan's going to talk about, sort of the background and the philosophy of strategic planning and how it works and why it's important to municipalities. I'm sure we've done this before, but I feel like reiterating that message of why this is important to basically the C-suite is important. It's been a long time, and I'm sure that, you know, Bob is the only one who's thought about strategic planning at all in the last 12 months on that committee, that board. So, you know, if every time we come out, sort of my feeling is we lead with what it is and why it's important. Eventually it'll stick. So that's going to be Stefan, and sort of how you tackle these items is really up to you. I know that you've got all this crap down, so
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it.
no, none of this is new to really to any of us. It's what we live and breathe every month. Then it's going to go to you, Rory. You're basically going to talk about what's happening at town hall and how we're implementing everything. Sort of, you know, the education process that you've been going through with trying to bring people, you know, into the flock about how strategic planning works. You're going to talk about your activities at senior staff meetings, how you've done one-on-one coaching, because really that's what you've done, where you've worked with them individually. And the fact that repetition is important. We're basically just hammering the message home. You're hammering it home every meeting. The expectation is there that there'll be a strategic plan in place. And, you know, repetition of the message is key. I've also put up here some of the barriers. Now, these were the first two that kind of came to my mind. Obviously, a lack of familiarity with the process. This is new. You know, some of us work with it every day. This is new territory for the folks at town hall. And then I suggested that value perception, what's in it for me? Why is this important? Why do I want to waste my time? So things that we have to look at are how do we bring those barriers down? You know, we continue the education process. We continue doing one-on-ones. But then when they start to see how, when they go to Board of Finance meeting and, you know, they're able to demonstrate the need versus their ask, now they're going to start to see how this is valuable. And it becomes a lot more palatable, you know, when you answer the question, so what? So I'm going to spend all my time doing this, so what? So that's that.
Okay.
And then you're just going to kind of quickly take them through sort of where we're at. I wouldn't necessarily list them. People can read. What I'd probably say, what I would do is define what the 3 categories are. You know, what does a complete plan look like? You know, it's something that could be presented to the Board of Selectmen and it would make sense and it clearly outlines, you know, what they're working on and what their objectives are. And progress needs work, you know, they're making solid attempts at it. You're working with them, coaching them one-on-one on a regular basis. They're refining and, you know, polishing their plan, and we're optimistic that their plans will quickly be in that complete and in final draft category. Just are not started, you know, newer to the process, maybe have less familiarity, having a little bit harder time translating their day-to-day tasks into a strategic plan. Or, and again, I wouldn't say it, I would, because it's going to be obvious, you know, and there, you know, are those departments for whom they do not see the value. And, you know, we will continue to encourage them to start the process. People are smart, they'll figure it out. And if they're not,
Yeah.
and if they say, well, who's not starting it? You know, vast
They
for
can
the bus chucking.
read between the lines.
Yeah, they'll get it. Again, if you are forced to bus chuck, you bus chuck. But you know, that's never really my first tactic. Do it if I'm asked, but if I don't get asked, didn't hear it from me. And then sort of, I'm going to kind of take it through and try to do the, you know, so here's what we are doing as a committee. You know, we're going to continue to report the importance of this as a concept and as a practice, and continue to evangelize, you know, the strategic planning is vital, you know, to our ongoing success. Continue to support implementation on the senior management level, you know, through you know, providing any sort of, you know, support is needed, you know, from us. We are available. We'll be available to provide insight and guidance for all the plans. So if anybody has a specific question, needs to really drill down, doesn't know how to handle something, you know, one or all of us will be available, either through our meetings or through individually scheduled sessions. And then we will continue to demonstrate the cause and effect of this planning by having meetings like this, presentations like this, where we're showing what the benefit is of having a well thought out plan in terms of preparing for unforeseen circumstances, for being proactive, not reactive, blah, 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 blah. So what's next? Continue to increase the understanding and increase the complexity of plans, you know, for the groups that get it. We're going to keep pushing them to make their plans more comprehensive. Will that be today? No. Will it be in a few months for people? Absolutely. I'm thinking of Rob Dwyer, you know, who has embraced this process from the beginning, and I'm not afraid to give a feather where a feather's due. And, you know, so we're going to continue to encourage him to make his plans more complex, more far-reaching. as he feels, comfortable and as the business needs dictate. We're going to target 100% implementation. Probably a big goal, but you got to have something to shoot for. And if it means we have to work with those not yet beguns and evangelize to them directly, that's something we can do. Start to figure out different places where strategic planning might be implemented. Let's extend beyond town hall. Let's start to work with, our other boards and committees. Let's work with, other, subgroups within the system and see, how we can bring strategic planning to them, and then to support the evolution of these plans over time. That's the fast version of what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And then what we're going to do next steps, and this is something that will be probably more conversational. I imagine at this point, Bob will jump in and talk about, or we'll talk about transitioning to an advisory role. Whereas we're not, we're going to continue to act in that way because we're kind of doing that now. We're not writing the plans. We're not hands-on editing most of the plans. We're just sort of available for support. Sort of like, a C-suite level support. By that, I mean, if the Board of Selectmen has questions about a plan, how was a plan constructed? How can a plan be better constructed? That's what we're available for. We spoke to the Board of Finance, and we're working with them to support their activities by requiring, encouraging them to require or request strategic plans as part of funding asks. And then as things change and adjust, we'll be available to support that. And then, Stefan, I'd love to bring everybody back up on stage. So Stefan, would you like to talk a bit about KPI and Insight Guidance?
We can, but that's like Bob's baby, right?
It is, but I
think
don't
we
know
just
that he
let
can.
Bob.
Well, he's going to be up on the dais. Can he talk about that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I remember when there was a period of time where Trish and I were both on this and giving presentations. So and I remember that we both talked. At least Trish did. I know that.
Okay.
And I don't feel like, I'm not going to feel upset if I don't get my moment in the sun.
Okay. So anyway, so we'll just kind of jam on this, and we'll see what happens. And then sort of our last request for them is to, become involved. Look at the strategic plans. Don't be afraid to ask for one to guide decision making. And start to transition into relying on strategic plans for decision making and performance monitoring. They're a great way to kind of see what's going on and to make changes. Make sure that when big changes happen that the proper people are notified so they can adjust their plans, and then just continue to provide consistency and support to the process. That's it.
You had mentioned wanting to talk about successes.
I do. And the last time we spoke about it before, you were about to pull your very last hair out, so it felt wise to back off on that, but I would love to add that in.
That's most days. I guess, historically when we would do that, it would be items in the plans that had been accomplished because we were writing the plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
So now that we're not, how do we define success beyond just like getting people into compliance, getting them on board the train kind of?
Well, we've always tied it to, tangible things like satisfying S&P and I don't know.
That's why I was struggling when I was thinking about it, right? Because the role of the committee has changed. It kind of abstract things like, you know, satisfying S&P will still be the case because they like to see this stuff. We could look at kind of individual plans and see what was, you know, completed. At that point, I guess it would be like, you know, for next year, maybe assuming we get a full year of people doing this, we could you know, we'll have that list of completed items and the years that they were completed in. So we could kind of go back and take highlights of that. But I guess it was always the, you know, staff accomplishing most of the things. But especially now that we're not even writing the plan, it's the writing of the plans by the department heads that is our success.
100%. And I also think that, you know, maybe we can say, you know, well, what percentage of departments have plans?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, everybody has something on paper, which is ahead of where we were last year. You know, they'll see on that one slide where, you know, we have more in the done or almost done category than we do in the just started category. Right. So, I mean, that's a success as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, yeah, we don't need a set slide. I mean, you can certainly just speak to it. You know, I think you're the most intimate with the day to day, and you can say, you know, I mean, are your meetings any shorter? You know, since you started using the strategic plan or are they more organized? You know, maybe not yet.
Yeah, it's also like, you know, COVID, huh? Just when things start getting organized, chaos sets in. So it's hard to say. But I guess I was wondering if you guys had any thoughts on anything else that would qualify us as success now that we've changed our roles.
We're not staying in town hall buildings until 11 o'clock at night. I like that.
Yeah, that's a major success for us. These meetings aren't 4-hour marathon sessions anymore.
I mean, we could mention that we looped in the Board of Finance.
Yeah,
They seem
I mean,
receptive. I don't know.
And maybe they can be, you know, a bellwether for that. You know, where, you know, we sort of think of them as a, you know, a pilot, you know, in, you know, that relationship. I mean, we have one with town hall too. But, you know, what could be the next, you know, so this is where it starts to get a little
Everything
sloogey.
gets
I mean,
very abstract.
it is.
You know, really, we're trying to set a structure, right? We're trying to create a system in which this can work and produce value, right? I think we need like a Captain Planet slide. Was it Captain Planet where everybody sticks their fists in and the rainbows come out and it's our powers combined? Because it really needs to be like, you know, department heads and Board of Finance and Board of Selectmen and Strategic Planning Committee and our powers combined. We can actually have like, you know, we can get to what we're all trying to have, which is like more stable, reliable local government. But that's, you know, the Board of Finance just heard about it. I'm sure they've been aware of it, but the Board of Selectmen has been there the whole time and have
Mhm.
not taken an active role, but they have one now. We've identified we've identified the role, which
Mhm.
is you guys can crack the whip, we can't.
Right.
Same with Board of Finance. You guys control the purse strings.
Hmm.
If something's not on somebody's strategic plan, you should be asking why not. Why should we fund
Right.
this if it's not part of your long-term strategy? That's the only way this works, right? We've tried it at the senior staff meetings and it was a step in the right direction.
Hmm.
But still, like only the board and the boards.
Hmm.
And then, this committee in a support role.
All right, I have that in the second bullet, so I don't really need it here too. Yeah, maybe we'll just spell it out. Ask for them. Try to expect to see them.
That's it.
And if somebody doesn't have them, send it back to go get it. Now what?
We're the carrot, you're the stick.
Yeah. Maybe I'll just say that. I don't know. I want to put that on the slide.
Put a carrot in a stick emoji.
And I think that's all. Maybe that's the last bullet: providing consistency and support. That's where, we're the carrot, they're the stick. That's just a nicer way of saying that. That.
Yeah. But I don't think we need to be nice. I think we need to be clear. Like, you
right.
guys have always said you support this, and that is important. But now it's time to, walk the talk.
I don't want to just put it there because then they'll laugh and they will get distracted. So they'll have to wait till I see they say what that means.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, I can certainly speak at that. So, all right. Cool beans. And again, I think we'll be fine. None of us are shy, except for Stefan. He's very shy.
Yes, extremely.
Maybe this is the committee of the 4 least shy people out there. What do you want? All right. All right. Do we need to provide any pre-reads for these guys? I know we've done it in the past and it's been kind of a waste of paper.
Well, because it's going to be Zoom, if you want me to give them the presentation ahead of time, I can stick it in their packet.
No.
Otherwise, we'll just screen share, and if it's helpful, I can pull up one of the plans too to kind of have them see it in real time.
Yeah, that's good. I'll make that. Maybe you can take them through what a good plan looks like.
Yeah.
Eventually, we could take them through what a crappy plan looks like. But
well, actually, maybe that would be the best way to describe the difference between the three.
Mhm.
Honestly, you just pick ones that are representative and go from there.
Yeah. That could work. And I think, I'm okay with people being called out gently. You know, if they're really being obstinate, then they get called out. Not gently, but, you know.
Well, that's it. You know, and that's the selectmen's role.
Mhm.
You guys, when department heads come to you, which we're going to start doing every month, you need to demand to see this. You
Mhm.
know, you need to grill them if they're not making progress.
Demand the plan.
Yes. We need catchphrases.
Mhm. I mean, you can't rely on something you don't got. Yeah, and it would be cool for, you know, them to start to refer to strategic plans when they're talking about specific issues. That's not something we can control, but, you know, it's also a behavior change for them too.
Definitely.
So we'll just keep preaching. And eventually they'll either pick it up or throw us out. And then we get our Wednesdays back.
There you go.
So, all right, if anybody thinks of anything else between now and then, feel free to send me a some sort of message. Any kind will do. Let me go back to. And again, I'm sure that, you know, if past history dictates, you know, we will get some questions and we'll just sort of handle them the way we handle everything else, kind of as a group. And we'll figure it out, which we do. Is there any other topics we need to talk about before we send Rory back to his chili? Spring offsite meeting. That was a good time.
That was fun.
So maybe, yeah, we'll do one when the weather is warm,
Yeah,
and then we'll end up
sit
doing it in
somewhere nice
December.
outside. Yeah, right.
But we can.
We'll plan it. We'll
can
plan
have
it for
goals.
July, and then we'll roll it into the next year's holiday party.
That's right. All
Well,
right.
that's right. You know, that was the 2020 Christmas party. We still have to have 2021. So
That's right.
100%. 100%. We'll put that on the agenda for next month's meeting to start to plan that.
all right.
Anything else?
Good to
Anything
go.
from our public? There's no public in my office, so. Oh, Stefan's out in the middle of the universe, so.
Yeah, I'm looking around. There's not much intelligent life out here.
I don't know what that buzzing was, but maybe it was, you know,
Someone trying to
some
get in.
type of comment. We'll find out.
Right. All right. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Cool.
All right.
And that
Thanks,
will
guys.
put an end to 7:46, and we'll see you next week. Stay
Yeah.
well.